Go ahead, sorry.
All right. I moved to Colombia in November because I saw a lot of opportunities here. My wife's Colombian. There's a lot of money coming into Colombia. And I see one large source of the funds being the Canadian pension funds. On November 25th, Canadian pension funds signed an agreement that they would divest oil and gas and all things that they considered not to be green, and invest in things that they consider to be green. So they're not using only what we look at, balance sheets and profit and loss accounts. They're also looking at a new measurement they call ESG, environmental, social, and governmental. They're often putting these things first. So they are willing to take a loss in order to, what they say, improve the planet. It's political investing, like to try and change things. So the Canadian pension funds have $1.6 trillion on assets under management. And so it's a huge amount. And some of them, like for example, in Alberta is thinking of leaving the Canadian, leaving Canada, because Canadians that work in Alberta can no longer invest in oil and gas, that's their lifeblood. So this money is going into green projects all over the world, and maybe other people can look in and find green projects and get funding. So what I'm doing here, one of the projects is palm oil. So palm oil it's a tree originally from Nigeria, and there's been plantations here in Colombia. It grows a type of a nut from which you can extract oil. You extract it and then refine it. You blend it with a diesel. And so there's a minimum of 5% to 10% diesel. Is biodiesel, sorry. Of all the diesel in Colombia, about 5 to 10% is biodiesel. And this is considered green, that they like this. And so this is a green investment. There are 17 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, from everything from eliminating poverty to clean water to education. And so this is renewable energy. And other forms, if other guys are listening, like other forms of renewable energy, like solar panels and so on, are eligible for this money. And so the palm oil plantations in Colombia in generally are owned by wealthy families, and it's usually a family setup with maybe the grandfather founded it, and now one of the groups we're talking to, the grandchildren are running it, and they're bickering, and they'd be better off selling this and getting out of it. They've also taken a lot of money out. So while the palm oil plantation working, it needs a capital injection, because they just they draw down the money and they spend it on their cars and their cell phones and travel and things like this. So these type of investments are very interesting to the Canadian pension funds. Then the other thing I'm looking at is a big banana and coconut plantation. And this is a more typical thing, I think, that maybe some of the other guys are looking at. The plantation, they want to sell it for 6 times EBITDA. That's their initial offer. So I think we'll get them down lower. And that's a $14 million US. Now, my board have excellent experience in adding value to food management chains, and CEO is the head of Nestle Colombia, and so they have a lot of connections where they can add value. So one thing I'm thinking about with the banana plantation is that the average EV/EBITDA multiple for agricultural, the S&P and the Dow Jones, is 7. But if it's classified as food processor, it's 14. So I think if I can add on to this something that will process food, and I'll double my multiple just out, you know, and then with that acquisitions, we'll get even more. So this guy is the guy that's selling it. They're from an extraordinarily wealthy family who have many farms, and they want to get out of this one.
How did you find him? How did you find those deals?
My wife's family have political connections, and so it's really difficult to talk to people here. Like if you Facebook, people don't put Facebook because that shows you have money. And you know, like very wealthy people will drive maybe a Toyota Corolla out windows. So you don't know. And it's hard to find, it's really difficult to get the financials. In order to get the financials, we had to go and have with the people on their farm, which was an amazing experience. But they want to know you and who you are and do due diligence on you before they give you any information. Now Colombia is complex because we have many different armed forces here, the police and the military, who most of the time abide by the law. Then we have paramilitaries, and we have right-wing paramilitaries and left-wing paramilitaries. And these guys extract a price for doing business times. And then there are the standard terrorists like FARC and so there are numerous different people that have to be avoided. So it's complex, and but we feel that we're nearly there. The people are interested in lending money.
What's your process of reaching out to the people of lending money? Oh, sorry, we're breaking. I'm asking what's the process for you so far on reaching out to those who potentially want to provide capital, financial institutions and investors?
Oh, okay.
What is
so
it for you?
We are this week, my wife is handling the Colombian side of things and I'm handling the foreign side. And so this week she is talking to the banks, and the banks in Colombia. And if you guys are looking at, maybe this doesn't apply to only Colombia, but other developing nations, the World Bank lends money to countries in order to change those countries. So it's again, political capital to change them the way they want. And so the World Bank has various branches, development banks. And here we have the Inter-American Development Bank. And there's one for Africa and one for Asia as well. And so they lend money, and they say on their website quite clearly that they will do what they call blended finance, where they will assume some of the risk. So if the local lender deems that, well, this is a bit risky, I want to, I'd have to get 10% on this to make it worth, then the World Bank will step in and say, look, the market won't accept 10%, and so we will accept some of that. So if you go to their site, then you find out what, say you're in Kenya, and you find out what banks in Kenya are dealing with them and what are their criteria. Then you can go to those banks, fit the criteria, and get money. Like we're working on a project as well, which is construction. And I don't see any women here, but there is a massive push for women to invest, and also for women to take majority. So we've used this approach, and then we have talked to the banks, and then this week it's very, very slow because although we don't really have COVID lockdown, the banks locked down. So we have to stand outside in the hot sun for 2 or 3 hours for each meeting, and so you can maximum do one a day, it's not as easy. I lived in the United States in the past. It's not as easy as in the US at all. So that's one track, but the other track I'm looking at is the Canadian pension funds, because they are now have a legal obligation, because it's just, I haven't checked, but 2 or 3 days ago, it was in the second reading in the House in Ottawa. where they would make this a law so that they have to divest. And now with Biden coming in the US, I would say the American companies will follow suit, you know? So this means that there's a lot, they have to invest it. And and then I'll just finish up a little bit, but the investment banker that I'm talking to is one of the most well-known ESG investment bankers. So they look at the business to make sure it truly is environmental, that it's not what they call greenwash. It's not a lie, you know, that they're making it up. But so I guess I'm paying a premium for him, but he has access to the market. He is believed, he has credibility in the market, and he can float it on the Luxembourg exchange. So there's a few exchanges for these green bonds. In the Luxembourg exchange, you pay you will issue for the lowest coupon. So that means that, you know, that's what we want. We want the people to take the bonds at the lowest percentage so that the loan for us is as cheap as possible. So yeah, I guess this is especially relevant to maybe people looking at green energy or people in non-developed countries, you know?
It's fascinating, and I like to hear you talking about it, because I want to also, because a lot of people in the call probably, like, everyone is in a different part of the process, right? So a lot of people here never even talked to a business owner before. So by hearing you, I just want to show people that, yeah, so it's beautiful, but you're in the play, you're doing the work, right? You're out there, you're talking about numbers that, you know, are exciting for, I'm sure for a lot of people here. That's what I thought it will be great to unmute you. Any other last thoughts before I go back to the rest of the questions that can help
as you the main thing is your mind, and you know, like the diamond cutter. And another thing I would, there's free meditations on Vishen Lakanian in Mind Valley, the 6-phase meditation. It's 20 minutes. Just do, it's free, it's on YouTube, and do it for 30 days. And then you will see that you have no limits and you can do anything. Like, I'm a medical doctor. I know nothing about this. And now I am going to...
And you sound like an expert. I love it.
So you start with the course, do it all, and then call people, and then go back and do it again. And then one thing I found is to give myself, I suppose, to sound more like an expert. When I'm talking to the lawyers, I give them a lot of financial information. So for sure, I know way more about them. When I'm talking to the financial people, I give them some legal information. And if they feel that you know more about them than some part, they give you credence. And like I said to Moran last week, I was at a meeting to buy this company, and the guy said to me, you're an investment banker. And I said, no, not exactly. So you can just use this as a basis, and then nobody once has asked me, oh, are you a doctor in economics or a medical doctor? Or nobody has asked me, how many times have you done this? It's amazing. They just don't.
I love it. I love it that you're a doctor and they thought you're an investment banker.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you for sharing that. I'm sure it's
you're very welcome.
going to be exciting for others. Awesome. Thank you.